I gotta tell you, Nick, I got this great offer. I think we should take these guys up on it. They're called Reality Records.
Oh, yeah?
They keep wanting to promote our shit. And
Oh.
welcome back to TLDR. I'm your friendly neighborhood backcracker, Dr. Joe, and I'll actually get back to cracking backs, baby.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why we are now being broadcast live on Tuesdays as opposed to Wednesdays, where we've pretty much been. Actually, that was our second date, right? Because we were originally on Thursdays, then we had to bump back to Wednesdays, right?
Yeah. And now we're here on Tuesdays. And as always with my hunk in crime, together we are the Woodward and Bernstein of the DSG. And I got to tell you, Nick, I'm busting.
Yep.
We got something for next week that's just Panther City, baby.
So normally Joe and I kind of hold off on telling you guys who exactly we're going to have on, but we told you about Rodney. I think we told him about Rodney in advance because we had Rodney. We talked to him, well in advance of when the audio dropped. That's how we got the Mandalorian news, as you guys will probably find out when you listen to the interview. So I think I'm okay with you telling everybody who we're going to be talking to, who they're going to be hearing from, I guess, on TLDR on November 11th.
Nick, I gotta tell you, I couldn't believe this. This just sort of came together. It was like the universe was just listening to us. I've prayed for a great many things, and maybe the universe has given me the greatest gift of all. We have Chip Zdarsky on TLDR next week, baby.
Yep, I cannot believe it. What's funny about it too was we saw Newburn, right? I think that got teased before he had there was. You texted me about it when Chip tweeted about it that we want to try and get him on. But I thought I'd seen something previously, so I was already thinking that ahead of you texting me. And then the day you text me, the day that Chip announces it on Twitter, I get an email from they reach out to us like, "Hey, do you want to have Chip on?" It's like, sure.
Does a bear shit in the woods?
Yeah. Let's try and get on that right away. So it was, and we were already in the midst of everything too, with having Scott on, Greg on, and then Rodney, John Boy, and then of course kicking off this crazy run. This is the little pause in the action, but we also had Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans on a little while back to talk the finale for Die. But to kind of put an end to it, where we have a guy who we haven't had on before, who you love. He's one of your top two favorites. We did talk about that in our conversation with him. But yeah, Chip's on next week. I couldn't have been more excited for you when it got started, when we found out we were going to have him on.
Yeah, it was hilarious. And just a little, tease, the way I introduced him was just, man, it was hilarious. I can't wait for this to drop and for everyone to listen to it, because we had a lot of fun. This was probably the first fireside chat that we've done. I think we've laughed the entire time.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Chip gave it's a lot of great stuff there. I'm not going to say too much more. You're going to want to listen to it next week. It was a hell of a fireside chat.
Yeah. I've listened to some other interviews that Chip's done in the past. So I kind of had we know that he's, likes to joke around and stuff like that, but I'll tell you, he got very comfortable with us. He made us feel very comfortable, which is weird. We're used to having to be the ones that make the writers or artists that we're talking to feel comfortable. Well, Chip kind of took control in that regard. So it was a great interview. I mean, we've enjoyed every single one of the ones that we've done so far. So
yeah, it was fangirl city over here for this guy.
Yes. So I will say that will be a little bit of a pause in the action on the interview front for us. But we will, doesn't mean we're going to stop. It's just, pause. Somebody's got to go back to cracking backs. Holidays are coming up, but we still got to get to some other people that we haven't checked in with for a while. So we will be working towards that behind the scenes. And if you haven't already subscribed to the show on was it iTunes or Spotify or SoundCloud, then make sure you go do it, because then you're going to find out when those interviews are. You're not going to need Joe and I to give you heads up, in the show before we talk about what we've been catching up on, which we're going to do right now. Joe, what have you been catching up on since last episode?
So, man, we've had a bit of a snafu from Image Comics and books being pushed back a week, and so it's thrown my reading off a bit, because I've had all this reading to do, catch up. So I didn't read a ton. I pretty much just caught up on my AWA books, Not All Robots 3 and Fight Girls 5. Both of those dropped, were out last week. And, I got to say, like, Not All Robots has been like fairly consistent. Like the first two episodes, there was some good menacing action going on. And this particular issue was, I don't know. It was good. Don't get me wrong, but it was like not a lot really happened. It was just a lot of, storytelling and not a ton of action. But I got a feeling that like the last two issues are really going to ramp up a bit.
You would think so. Yeah. I can't remember if I gave it an 8.5 or an 8, but I was definitely more in between all that. With Geeks World, we try and keep it usually at 8 or 8.5, but I thought it was good. I was like, in my review, I was like, I feel like this is a story that could go beyond the limited 5 issues that they have it at right now, and it would have made more sense if that was the case. But so I'm a little confused with their tactics right now. But I'm going to keep acting tough till I figure out what's going on. And I'm going to stick with this still.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It was a step down from the first 2 books, but that it's a we love the term around here, bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a bridge book.
Yep.
Hopefully it's not a bridge to nowhere.
Right.
I'll tell you, a certain sports writer once coined, which
yeah,
he shall not be named.
I'll tell you what, the ending of that of Not All Robots 3 though was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Yeah, like that last panel there was, it was like that little hook, like, okay, make sure you come back for book 4. And then Fight Girls, issue 5 of 6. I love this series. It's been absolutely fantastic. There's been a lot of not just good action, but like, sort of this, behind the scenes stuff, like conspiracy sort of mystery, try to figure out like what actually is going on. That's been really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been enjoying that.
I also, speaking of AWA, caught up on Telepaths 2, which came out last weekend. Not All Robots as well, but Telepaths 2, I thought after the first one, I liked it. I thought it was good. But coming in, it's like, everything that's with the Resistance and everything, how it has a similar vibe, of course, the same writer and everything. I was like, going into it, I'm like, I want to read it, but it's just like, what am I getting myself into right now? What am I committing to after that first issue? I'm just getting in my own head. You know how that happens with some books. But then it was like, okay, we're going, and the issue's going along well. And by the end of it, I was like, all right, this is definitely quite a bit different than Resistance. I already thought it was, but like I had just those apprehensions were kind of put to rest. I'm very much looking forward to the 3rd issue. I think Straczynski's got this has like a very good direction, at least through the first 2 issues. One that I'm not certain on the direction, though, however, is you talked about it last week, where this dropped last week, Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters issue 5, which is the final issue of the first series of the trilogy that we're getting.
The first event of a trilogy of events.
Yeah. Okay, whatever this is with the Crimson Dawn, I will admit I'm interested in it. I mean, the characters that we see kind of thrown in the mix at the end with Kira and everything, right? It's like, okay, these are some characters that I've seen. I saw some of you in the Kylo Ren story, and then there's some other like just cool, badass looking characters that I would like to learn more about. And there are cool moments that happen in this issue, like the stuff with Boba Fett in this issue in particular. I was like, it's great, but it just feels like there's a whole like, and some of the Hutt stuff is kind of cool too. But I got to be honest, the stuff with Leia and Lando and Chewie is like, even in Vader and Luke, it's kind of like, like give me the Hutt stuff. Mixing the Empire is fine, but I just mainly want Boba and I want Crimson Dawn, like that. Give me that stuff primarily. So got to trim the fat if you're going to keep me on for the next episode of the trilogy or event of the trilogy.
This is what they should have done, and I think you just nailed it on the head. Was that the Darth Vader book has been great at sort of piecing the events between Empire and Jedi, right? Mm-hmm. And I love the idea and the premise of what transpired between Darth Vader, putting Han and Carbonite and him ending up at the Hutts. Like that's a story that I never thought I needed, and when they gave it to us is great. But then like to stretch this thing out, they like you just said, they added all this filler. Like they could have, you could have like knocked off almost all of the side books and just given us like the Boba Fett, Crimson Dawn, Han Solo, Hutt stuff, and that's it. Give us, and hell, even give us that in 8 books instead of 5 or whatever, and that would have been tighter. It would have been better. Now, if you want to, there's the IG-88 book by Rodney, which we'll talk about in a moment. And if you wanted to do like a couple of other just sort of one-off tie-ins, that would have been fine. But the fact that it was just too much between War of the Bounty Hunters and then Bounty Hunters and Darth Vader and Dr. Aphra and Star, right? There was just 5-6 mainline, Star Wars books that all were weaved in. Plus, you had the one shots. It diluted it down. It would have been better served to trim the fat, keep it to 6-8 books of just, call it war. Either call it its own thing, War of the Bounty Hunter, like they did with the 5 issues, or just make it like this is the current arc for the Star Wars Bounty Hunters book.
Yeah, you absolutely could have done that, and that would have been really cool. I think that making an event, I still think making an event is a better idea as much as yours does. It makes sense in terms of a storytelling aspect, in terms of sales. I understand them turning this into a large event. However, I'm never going to take the side of let's go and have this kind of bleed into the other Star Wars mainline books that we're dealing with. I'm with you on that 100%. It just doesn't flow as well. I'm not saying stop. Don't pull a DC and just stop everything for this one particular event, but do the little tie-ins, and then it can be stuff that's like really cool. And honestly, diehard Star Wars fans are the people that are reading this kind of shit for the most part. So they're gonna want to read all of these one-offs and these tie-ins. But you're gonna ask me to go and pick up Star Wars, like the main title, when I've not been reading it at all, just for this bounty hunter stuff. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I try to do that, and I think that's part of the reason.
You did,
and I go, it's just too much. It just became too much because what the other problem too is I had a hard time keeping track of everything.
Yeah.
What title was this? What storyline? What book was this from again? Like I had a hard time like keeping it in order, and I wasn't gonna like just collect them all and then read it in the order that was given in the back of each book. I was trying, and so it was just too much. Mm-hmm. Just take like it's War of the Bounty Hunters. They already have a Bounty Hunters mainline book, so just make that the current arc. 6 issues. Boom. And if you want to do a couple of one-offs, War of the Bounty Hunter one-offs, boom. Yeah. Then you tell your story. You get your Dr. Aphra the single issue War of the Bounty Hunter tie in there, or right? You know what I mean? Like
I think there's I get what you're saying. Like there's a middle ground where you can treat it like it's an event in some capacity, but also still it's not an event. It's just part of the bounty hunter story. Yeah, there's a middle ground there to be had, absolutely, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then again, they kind of like there was a little too much fluff on this. I felt like it's just like or fat, however you want to put it. It's just like it didn't. Things that I'm like, I just don't care about this as much. Give me Boba and the Hutts. Like, that's what I really want.
Yeah, and the Leia and the Lando stuff, like, it's important because, like, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to set up, like, why Leia and Lando were there at the Hutt Palace, right, I get that. They're trying to connect those threads. But we didn't need that thread connected because we already know. Like, we just want to know, how did Jabba finally get Han Solo? Right. And the way they ended book 5, I think was great. Right. And then there was a little epilogue there, which is setting up a new title for Star Wars for Boba Fett there. But like they need to trim it. And the thing that really kind of, puzzles me is that the War of the Bounty Hunters is still continuing, yet the main title for War of the Bounty Hunters has ended.
Yeah, it's the Crimson Dawn one. I don't have the book in front of me now, but it's just I'm very much interested in the Crimson Dawn stuff, and I do like Kira. I mean, she showed up. I mean, her going head to head versus Darth Vader earlier in the series. I think it was the 3rd issue or the 2nd. That was awesome. I'm totally here for that stuff. I want to see more of her because we know who she learned some of that shit from.
And you get a majority of that in the Bounty Hunters title, right? So like now you've got to to get that full story. You would have had to have read.
I didn't read that. I didn't know that. I didn't read that, and that is.
And if you trim the fat out of then you could have taken that storyline and you would have gotten more Crimson Dawn stuff, right?
Yes, you would have, and that's what we really wanted.
And you gave up on the Bounty Hunters, right? The book.
I have the second arc, and I haven't gone back to it because the first arc was solid. But I'm going to read the second one. But now,
so with the start of the War of the Bounty Hunter stuff, it was a lot, not a lot, but there was a good amount of Crimson Dawn stuff in there, and that would have been better served in this. Right in this series, like I said, make it an arc. If it was a 6-book arc, you could have pulled that storyline.
I just don't get it. Like the stuff that happens with Star Wars, like we love this world and there's so much potential there. And I understand the idea of like letting creative people like actually be creative and do their thing and like take the art that they give you and then, whatever, don't project your shit on it. But it's just, there's a time, there comes a time where sometimes you're just flat out not executing. And I also wonder too, like, are the actual creative people being allowed to spread their wings with some of this stuff too? Or are they being told like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. You got to milk it this much or whatever. So it's at the end of it all, not our favorite event. It's there were some good moments. Don't get me wrong, and I'm still probably gonna read the Crimson Dawn stuff, so I'm probably part of the problem still. But yeah, it could have gone better. No two ways about it. Yeah. So if someone was to ask, like, should we pick up the trade later on? I'd probably say no.
Yeah, because too much. There's too much. The only way I would suggest picking up the trade is if the trade collects everything and puts it all into one book. Like you get like a super thick trade. Like you've got it in the order, right? Like you've got, you know what I mean? Like if you take a look at one of these books,
like a deluxe one, like they did with
because there's 30 something books that's a part of this.
They
right?
did it with the Power Rangers and Shattered Grid. I mean, that's Go-Go Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah. So if they were to do that, right, and make this like War of the Bounty Hunters, every book that was a part of that. So Dr. Aphra, IG-88, Darth Vader, Star Wars, Bounty Hunters, War of the 8 titles or plus that are involved, and they put it all in sort of one compendium, right?
Maybe.
Then I'd say, okay, read it, because now you're getting everything. But if it's just a War of the Bounty Hunters trade, 5-issue trade, I'd probably say no.
Yeah, I'd say no. And even the compendium type deal you're talking about, I think that's a lot to get.
That's a lot, but like soup to nuts. There is a good story in there if you've read everything. The problem is it became too much to keep track of. If it's in one linear story, I think then it's more readable. I think it's more enjoyable, and it tells a better story than, if you just read like. This is one of the, like, you could get away with King in Black just reading the main line.
Oh yeah,
right.
Well, King in Black was so good, and then what was the other one? And then Death Metal. I mean, Death Metal is another one where you can just read the main line and you'll be totally fine too. As much as there were a lot of really good one-offs. I mean, there was legitimately one that I was like, this is the only one that's like not good.
Yeah.
And even then, I gave it there were like a bunch of little stories in it, so some were good, but then there were some Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But I forgot about that one. Friend of the show, of course. Anyways, all right, Joe. It is time for us finally to move on to what's new this week in comics. Now, before we get started on anything else, we will be talking about Image, but I just want to let everybody know. Last week, we got all these different issues that are sent to us for reviews and everything, and then a lot of stuff didn't come out. And then this week, it's like it looks like we're going to get a lot of stuff, but there's other things we didn't get. So we're basically going off of what's on the site. We'll be making sure let you guys know, but you'll see when you go to your local comic shop what exactly is available to you or what's not. There seems to be a little bit of confusion over there. I guess like their printing press, Joe, I think is what we saw, is where they were like paper, whatever the fuck it was.
Some sort of paper shortage or something like that?
Yes. You know what? They've been running too hot over there. Too many quality stores that at some point their printers couldn't take,
when you put out 10 kick-ass books a week and we're almost at the end of the year, someone needs to fucking call up WB Mason, get them some fucking paper, right, and get their shit together, because there's a couple of books that we're going to mention here in just a second that we didn't get review copies of, so that either means they're coming out next week, or I got to, make sure I get these books before they're off the shelves tomorrow.
Just as long as they don't delay Newburn. That's not going to delay our interview unless we hear otherwise. But I'll tell you, but Joe and I got to look at the first 5 issues of that. Unprecedented amount of previews that we got for this story. Holy shit.
Yeah, even Chip goes, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was awesome. But anyway, that's a conversation for you guys to listen to another day. It is now time for us to get to, let's see, DC will start here. Of course, we have Detective Comics 1044, which you read, Joe. Harley Quinn 8. We got a Batman, the Long Halloween special that came out today or this week as well. Checkmate issue 5. Wonder Woman Black, White, and Gold issue 5. And then we got the second issue of Deathstroke Inc. issue 2. And there are a couple other. Oh, and then there's Wonder Girls 4. Wonder Girl 4. I'm reading both of those titles.
Wonder Girls 4. What's on your mind, Nick?
Sorry, I got mixing, crossing streams and everything like that. It's always dangerous, But there are 2 huge DC titles that came out this week that we've been waiting for a while. Both of them involve Matthew Rosenberg. One involves James Tynion. One involves Eddie Barrows, which I did. This one I did review, and he was with Chip for his Red Hood story in Batman Urban Legends. Task Force Z issue 1 and DC versus Vampires issue 1. Now, did you read either of these before the show?
I did not get a chance to read either of these.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be dissatisfied with Task Force Z. I think I gave it a 6.5.
Oh, Jesus.
on Geeks Worldwide. Look, Eddie Barrow's art, not to fault at all in any of this. I think he does a great job. He really does a good job with Red Hood and all the other characters we're seeing. And I like Matt Rosenberg a lot. I think he does an awesome job. And with what he's doing with DC versus Vampires, that was good. That was like, I wouldn't say it was great. I thought it was rock solid, like an 8.5. Definitely going to come back for more. I love Otto Schmidt's art. But with Task Force Z, it's like we're putting the way Red Hood is being handled is frustrating. And again, like we're talking about wanting to project what you want out of the character versus what we're being given. It just doesn't it doesn't fit to me, like how they want to handle Red Hood in this situation, how they're making him like the moral compass of this team. I understand he's got a lot of bad guys, but then it's just like the way it's not what I expected. And that's not something I can criticize for. That's something I got to get over or whatever. But I was very surprised, just how Red Hood didn't seem like I was reading the Jason Todd story when I was reading this.
Well, I think it was Urban Legends when we first got our first taste of Task Force Z, and that little story was fantastic.
Task Force Z? I don't remember a Task Force Z story.
Wasn't there? What was the
with Bane and Man-Bat?
Oh, no, never mind. I'm getting it confused. Was something? There was a story in Urban Legends
with the Wildcats. You mean? And
Talk about getting streams mixed up. I got streams mixed up.
And Grifter was written by Matt Rosenberg, and that was top notch.
Yeah, he's killing it with Grifter. I feel like we're getting a little change here with Red Hood because I think what we saw, I think Zdarsky's little run with Red Hood on Urban Legends, was good. But I feel like there's been a pretty consistent change going on with his character, going back to Future State.
Yeah.
And they're making him less that gray kind of good guy, bad guy character. And they're starting to, pigeonhole him as just a good guy with an attitude.
Yeah. And I don't like that. That's not what Red Hood is. That's and I love that we're getting more Red Hood stuff. DC's tapping into that, and they absolutely should. That character, we need to get more of that character. Who doesn't like Red Hood when he's written correctly? Yeah. Scott Lobdell wrote him correctly for a long time. I think that Chip did a really good job with Red Hood. But I also do think, looking at it now, as you bring it up, he opened doors for Red Hood to kind of move away from being so violent and everything. Which, again, you can. It was still a good story. I still enjoyed it a lot. But now it's like, with Suicide Squad get Joker, it makes more sense because he's dealing with the Suicide Squad. There's still a level of violence to his game and all this, but with this, it felt like he was babysitting. And
I still feel like he's become just more of a conflicted character versus knowing exactly who and what he is. You know what I mean? That's the thing about Red Hood. That he not just toes that line, and I wouldn't even say he toes the line. He is very committed. He has, his belief is that I'm going to use guns. I will kill people when I need to, right? Mm-hmm. And he's very confident in his decision making, very sure of himself. And I think what writers are doing now is that they're tapping into that trauma, of his origin. And they're adding layers to his character, which I never have a problem with, but they're starting to forget who the character truly is.
Right.
And they're making him become more of like
Tim Drake and Dick Grayson.
Yeah. I was just about to say they're making him more of just a dickhead Dick Grayson.
Yeah, there you go. Dickhead Dick Grayson. I mean, that's not what you want. I mean, honestly, when you look at the 4 male Robins, Red Hood and Damian Wayne kind of are more on the same side of how things are supposed to be done. And then Tim Drake and Nightwing are kind of more on the same side of how things should be done. And they should be at odds. They should butt heads. So again, like the story that we're getting from Joshua Williamson in Gotham, Future State Gotham, I'm fine with that. We've talked about how the issue is the black and white, the quality of the story. Mila Giannis's artwork is not there's nothing wrong with that, but it just should not be a black and white story, and it feels very weird. The Suicide Squad stuff, cool. It's been solid so far. We're definitely coming back for issue 3, but this shit with this right here, the Task Force Z, I will read the second issue, but it could be an early departure for me. Whereas DC versus Vampires, Loved the start of it. Absolutely in on it. Thought they set like the stage very well and everything. So I'm very like, and that's Rosenberg and that's Tynion. Kick-ass job. Otto Schmidt. I love his art and everything. But there were two other DC titles that we did want to touch on as well. Let's go, stick with the Robin theme and go with what Robin issue 7, which you read this week.
So I was trying to think, the week leading up to Thanksgiving, I always like to do themed books around the holidays. And so like Thanksgiving, birds, wouldn't that be a great time to do Robin?
Oh, look
right?
at that. Yeah, okay.
Right. So I love this book, man. I mean, you want to talk about a writer knowing a character. I mean, we're getting Joshua Williamson, like he gets Damian Wayne. I was thinking about this earlier where, I think with Damian Wayne, what we've gotten in the past is just a smarmy little prick, right? He's overconfident, he's arrogant, but he has every right to be considering his heritage, right? The son of, Batman and the great, right? Like,
and
so
Talia al Ghul, yeah.
Right. So like, but what Williamson's done is he's taken that arrogance and confidence, but I just mentioned a second ago, he's given him layers where he's given, Damian Wayne a little bit of depth where he's willing to learn and he's willing to, like, okay, like understand, okay, I've made mistakes. How do I learn from them? Like there's something different about his character. And I feel like he's really tapped into something here. And this story has been it's not just been fun to read, but it's been very interesting to read. The art's been great. The action's been great. The story's been great. Like complete surprise, complete home run. Can't wait to talk about it. I mean, tease, spoiler alert, this is going to get surprise book of the year. We'll get there.
I will say, like, if you talk about giving this character layers now with Red Hood, you can still have him go like one direction and then bring him back the other and make him more violent than ever. But I feel like like people are going to welcome it because that's what they want to see Red Hood do. But it feels like less of a natural thing. Whereas with Damian, with just looking at his parents, like you can see him swaying from one side to the other. So it makes perfect sense. It feels very natural. So I haven't read a lick of this. You wanted me to get on it from day one, and I dragged my ass. And then by the time like you knew through the second issue, you're like, I love this book. No. So I haven't touched it. So that way you can talk about it on the social. I would love like, around Thanksgiving, however we end up shaping all that out. I'm definitely that sounds great because I know you've been waiting to talk about this for a little bit. Now the first arc's over.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So and then the last book from DC, and this is we haven't done a lot of DC heavy what's new in a while, but Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target issue 1. You see Task Force Z coming out the same day as DC versus Vampires. First issues in October, horror style books. Totally makes sense that we're gonna those are gonna be big in that week, right? And then you get Aquaman and Green Arrow together, and it's like, what the hell is this team? Like who? What? But we know Brandon Thomas is on that. And of course, we love excellence. We can't get enough of excellence. Brandon Thomas is writing that series. Him and Kerry Randolph created it together. Outstanding series. We hopefully, continue to get more and more of. I know they have other stuff going on. But I'll tell you what, I was stunned. I was like, okay, I want to read it, the first issue, because it's got Green Arrow in it. I'm definitely interested in more of him. Haven't got a ton of him, in a while. And then it's like, wait a minute. This is really cool what they decided to do here. And I cannot talk about it without spoiling things. But I will say, if you've seen previews out there, because I did see some previews that people put out and everything and whatever, they're definitely misleading because they only got so much of that story. It is very different than what you would have expected from reading those previews. So Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target, issue 1. Surprise book for me in a while. Biggest surprise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I never would have guessed that in a million years. I mean, I'm not a big Aquaman or Green Arrow guy, so that's not a title I would have picked up. But maybe I'll give it a gander. Or maybe I'll be the good guy, save it for you, and you can talk about it on the show.
That would be great. That would be awesome. I'm fine either way because I really liked it. I thought it was again, talking about DC versus Vampires, it was like rock solid. I would say if I'm giving it a grade, it's probably like 8.5. But I was give it a 9. Either way, I'm not certain that this is a book I want to talk about on the show, but either way.
But 8.5 for that title, I think, is really good.
Yeah, definitely.
That's outpicking its coverage for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, because Aquaman too. I mean, I like Green Arrow, but Aquaman's a character who's like, okay. Like what Momoa's cool with the character, but there's a reason why Momoa's done what he's done and nobody's complaining because nobody gives a shit about the character. Like you can go be Jason Momoa. We're gonna like that more anyways. Let's move over to Marvel now. Let's see. We got Daredevil 35 this week. Of course, we're getting closer and closer to Devil's Reign. We got that big announcement, of course, with Elektra and everything. And we did talk to Chip a little bit about his dealings with Elektra too, right?
Yeah, that was fun. He said he had a lot of fun with Elektra, and it was kind of funny, how Marvel let him handle that. So
Yeah.
so some good stuff there. But I think this is
Second last, right?
second to last one, yeah. And then
Yep.
Devil's Reign, and then
I love talking about Newburn. Like that was great. It's a great book. But I gotta say, Chip, the way he talked about Marvel with us. I mean, obviously everybody loves Marvel, wants to learn more about Marvel. There's some really interesting insight that we got from him. That's the stuff I think is gonna be the biggest takeaway for a lot of people listening to that interview. But that's again a conversation for another day. Of course, for this week, for me, I have Moon Knight issue 4, Inferno issue 2, Black Widow issue 12. I'm also going to pick up Darkhold Blade issue 1. We're, of course, both reading Wolverine. Issue 17 is out this week. And then the Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in with IG-88. IG-88, excuse me. That's written by our guy, Rodney Barnes. Joe and I are reading that as well. And then anything else from you from Marvel this week?
Did you mention Darth Vader?
I did not mention Darth Vader. Issue 17, right?
Yep. So that continues to be a great series. And yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to fly through these last ones other than Boom. We're going to save Boom for last because we have a couple of big ones there. From Dark Horse, we got Black Hammer Reborn, issue 5, Lady Baltimore, issue 5, Hellboy, the Silver Lantern Club, issue 1. I don't know if this is going to be a 3-issue thing or a 1-issue, but any of these Hellboy stories I'm interested in, I'm picking them up. Stranger Things, The Tomb of Yuen, issue 2. You read the first issue, not reading the second issue?
I haven't read the first issue yet, actually. I meant to and didn't get to, so we'll see these sometime soon.
Okay. AWA, of course, you're reading Moths, and then we're both reading Marjorie Finnegan, issue 6. Solid. Definitely, like it's. I just don't know exactly what they're gonna do with this story. Like it's not, again, like the way things were trending, it's just kind of gone in an odd direction.
I feel like it was this is a rare 8-issue book for AWA, and I think Marjorie Finnegan probably would have been best served at 6.
Yeah, you might be right about that. There's definitely a little bit of fat in here. I mean, there's definitely a funny moment in this issue.
Oh, and there's some fat.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. I did enjoy that. But anyways, IDW, Usagi Yojimbo 23, which of course Joe talked about a while back on the show. Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures, The Monster of Temple Peak issue 3. Valiant has Harbinger 1. Vault has Human Remains issue 2. Vault has some big ones for this solicit, by the way.
Yeah.
And then Comixology Snow Angels 2 issue 5. Joe talked about Snow Angels on here a while back. I got to read that because you was Jock in Lemire, right?
Yeah, tremendous.
Yeah. And then, okay, again, going back to Image, this could be a little bit messy, but we have Spawn 323, Crossover 9, Gunslinger Spawn 1, Ice Cream Man 26, Time Before Time 6, Echolands 3, Mom 3, That Texas Blood issue 11, Chew 9. Then for me specifically, Sweet Paprika issue 4, A Man Among Ye issue 7, Oblivion Song issue 34. There's 3 more issues to go in that story. And then for both of us, aside from Spawn 323, Crossover 9, and Gunslinger 1, we also have Good Asian 6. Actually, no, I'm not reading that. Just you, because I had to say no to that. Philadelphia 18. I guess Nina Hawes got pushed back, so you guys got a ton of insight from Rodney on that. If you haven't listened to it already, go back and listen to it. Second Chances 3. Finally, Joe, next month we're going to get a new Second Chances because we've been ahead of this for a while. And issue 1 is finally supposed to be finally out. And then Vinyl issue 5, which I'm behind on, and you said you were going to drop off on, and you've stuck with it.
Yeah, this is so I alluded to it last week, and I didn't want to get into it too much because I knew it was being pushed to this week. This is the weirdest fucking book, man. And I've read some weird shit. And yeah, but Die was like weird, but it was like
organized.
This is just like weird as in like, what the fuck? What am I reading? Why am I reading this? How is it pulling me in? Like, I didn't know how I felt after the first 2 issues.
Right.
So I read 3. Like 3, like was I think the most organized book of the entire like 5-issue series. And it's like, all right, pull me back in. And then I'm reading 4. I go, okay, and I'm fine. I'm like, why the fuck did I read this? What the fuck is going on here? What is this? I was so not confused, but just like confunded. Is confunded a word? I don't know. It was just the weirdest fucking thing I've ever read.
It's a word now. You said it. So all words are made up in theory. I learned that recently. So.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. Read it. Tell me what you think. We have to have a brief discussion on this because, I mean.
Is it done with issue 5?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe there's issue 6. Maybe there's another. I don't know. I just remember reading it going,
this is a chunky.
What the fuck is this, man? Like, I'm confused, and I'm not confused, and then it's this. I don't know, man. This is a fucking conundrum wrapped up in a riddle.
So
this fucking book.
So this book never really figured out what its deal is. Really.
No, God, God, I don't know. Maybe a smarter person can figure it out. But
well, all right. Well, we're out of luck because nobody else in the DSG reads besides me, and obviously you're the doctor between the two of us, so we know what that means. But I will give it a shot and hope maybe next week. Obviously next week's going to be a little bit different for us. We're just going to be doing what's new because we have the Zdarsky interview dropping. But maybe we can slide in a conversation on that as well. But that does. I'm disappointed. Like that's because we thought this was going to be a crazy series. The art in this is nuts. Like
it's crazy. Don't get me wrong. It is fucking crackers. But like
we need organized chaos. Is really
what the fuck am I reading here, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we can't necessarily say that for some of the books that came out from Boom. We got 2 heavy hitters out this week. Of course, We Only Find Them When They're Dead, issue 9, and Dark Blood issue 4, which you're reading both of those. But then we also got Once and Future 21 and House of Slaughter. Issue 1, which you reviewed for Geeks Worldwide. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with Once and Future. And man, like just again, so actually there's something that both these books have in common, actually. Like Something Is Killing the Children was only supposed to be 5 issues.
Ah, yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Once and Future was only supposed to be 5 or 6 issues.
Right.
And these books, like these are the 2 books that, initiated the Boom rule.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are 21 issues later into Once and Future, and just when you think they can't introduce any more, they do. And just when you think like you've seen crackers ass action, you get more, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought this issue was a good balance of storytelling and action. Like usually I think what we find is that we get issues that are either heavy on the storytelling, light on the action, or heavy on the action, light on the storytelling. And this was much better than the bridge book that we mentioned earlier. From Not All Robots. Like there was good storytelling, there was good action. We get some new information here. Like Gillen is like, man, like part of me says like we need to wrap this up at some point. Like I want to know like where this is going, because it feels like each issue they just keep adding layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And how will it all wrap up? But at the same time, I don't want it to stop either.
Yeah, it's been so good. I mean, I know you had concerns about there being a bit of a lull somewhere in like the 10 to 15 issue range.
Somewhere around there,
somewhere in that range. But it's been I've really enjoyed it ever since you talked about it on the show. It's been absolutely high octane gas pretty much the entire way. Yes, there have been some pauses in the action, but when they always give us something at the end where it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And you don't honestly need it every single time, but we still get it. Even in this issue, it's like, oh fuck, like wait a second.
Yeah.
I think the action in this is, there's the one issue, I can't remember what one it was, where you got grandma picking off crows on her rocking chair. That is some next level wacky ass shit.
More at his best.
Yeah, Moore is outstanding. I mean, he's as good as Gillen is with this series. Moore is right there with him, keeping pace. But the action from this one may be like action movie type stuff, may be the best shit that we've seen in that ilk from this issue, I think, from this series.
Yeah, there was and we got some added elements to this too. And we've been seeing over the past couple of episodes issues, we've seen a little different side of Gran. She's been a little bit more sentimental.
Yeah.
And you know what that's telling me? I feel like we're going to lose Gran.
Oh,
right. Especially there was one moment in this issue where
that's a good call.
She has a picture. She asks for a picture to be taken, and she puts it sort of in a memory, but we find out she's got like this little memory drawer, and so I'm like, I read that. My first instinct was, this is foreshadowing. We're going to lose Graham, and that may be how this arc ends, which will be an emotional gut punch because I fucking love Graham.
I hate that you just said that because it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What if though? What if maybe instead of we lose Gran, what if Gran does something that is, we've learned that, there's a reason why her daughter hates her, right? Of course, her daughter's gone so far, the other direction. It's, she's just batshit crazy herself. But what if Gran does something that is like, I have to do this for the greater good, but people close to me aren't going to like me for it? What if she has to, pull a trigger in some capacity and, we end up seeing another character who we care about a lot. I'm not sure who, but what if she does something like that? And then we learn like, fuck, Gran is the asshole in all this.
Well, that would be the twist, to be honest with you.
It'd be a Taylor twist. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would be. But I got a feel we're going to see either a sacrifice or something happen, and because I mean that was a very distinct image.
That makes sense.
And so it's either one of two things. It's either Gillen, purposely giving us an okie doke because this is the type of shit we look at. We go, okay, that's foreshadowing, or it's at face value. It's foreshadowing, and so that's I have to emotionally prepare for that.
Yeah. Now, what about what? Now, I read that, but I did not read House of Slaughter issue 1. I'm not going to touch this, so that way you can talk about this one on the show. Obviously, this is a big one for you. And while I'm on the someone's killing the children train, I'm not going to catch up to do this, so that way you can talk about it on the show. But how was the first issue?
So, I mean, the first issue was excellent. I mean, it was everything that the last arc of Something is Killing the Children was leading up to, right? So, House of Slaughter is a perfect continuation of the events that transpired at the end of the last arc with Something is Killing the Children. But it's also setting its path. So, Something is Killing the Children. Its main, protagonist was Erica Slaughter, who I love. Now we're getting our main protagonist as Aaron, who we meet and we're introduced to in Something is Killing the Children. So now we're getting his sort of origin story and more so the origin story of the House of Slaughter. And he's a much different character. Far more complex, far more insecure, and they brought in Tate Bomdel, I think is his name. He's going to be co-writing this. I'm assuming he's going to be taking over for Tynan and writing this himself. And Tynan will be doing a lot of just sort of overseeing of it. And they brought in Chris Sheehan, who was the artist on Autumnal.
That's right.
To take over for Werther Deladera.
Yeah, the main writer.
But I'll tell you what, the art was seamless, right? And he's a great artist, and it's perfect for this book. It's perfect for the universe. So I'll have by the time you're listening to this on audio, the review will be up. If you're watching us now, that review will be up on Geeks Worldwide soon. But just a tremendous book.
Nice, good. I'm glad I didn't let you down. Not that I expected it to, but you never know with any of these kinds of things. All right, it is time, Joe, for us. This is maybe the latest we've gone into what's new in the history of this show, which is a good sign for next week when we start doing the different format. But it's time for us to start the November solicit officially. We start, of course, with the week of November 3rd. And why don't you kick us off with what comes out from Marvel that week?
So, a lot of the heavy hitters here, we have Star Wars High Republic 11, we have Star Wars 18, Alien 8, Externals 7, Strange Academy 13, Star Wars Bounty Hunter 17, X-Men Legends 8, Deadpool Black, White, and Blood. Feels like a while since we've had one of those titles. Darkhawk 3, which I've been reading, and it's been pretty good, and Winter Guard 3, which you've been reading.
Yep, been enjoying that.
Yep, and we've got a couple of number ones. So Death of Doctor Strange. This is written by Alex Packnadell,
that's right,
who we enjoy. And then we've got two others. We have Strange Academy presents The Death of Doctor Strange. This is written by Scotty Young. So we've talked about The Death of Doctor Strange on the show, and what's been previously. But Strange Academy is closed until the events surrounding Doctor Strange's death are resolved. So the students go back to their parents. Eric and Avril's mom appears to be the Enchantress, so this isn't going to go smoothly. We're going to learn that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and more than just one realm is in trouble. All of this and more. So, I kind of highlighted this because it's written by Scotty Young. I'm a Scotty Young. I mean, I love his art and I love his work in general. So This one I might, I know I went on the whole thing about, the death of Doctor Strange event, but
Uh-huh.
I'm definitely going to check out this number one just,
Well,
because who it's written by.
it's a lot different too when it's like it's not as much as you're crossing into the Strange Academy stuff, it is separate because we're having a Strange Academy issue and then you're having this off to the side. So I'm not surprised that you have less of an issue with this, but of course Scotty Young's going to heal some wounds for you too.
Definitely.
There's also The Thing issue 1. We got a couple of big issue 1s this month, and I think Joe doesn't give a shit about The Thing. He's reading freaking Fantastic Four with Mr. Fantastic, who fucking sucks, the Invisible Woman, who also kind of stinks. But The Thing, Joe, who's your favorite Fantastic Four member of the main 4?
Oh, it's Johnny Storm.
Okay, and who's number 2?
Well, see, I don't hate Mr. Fantastic like you do.
Wow.
But you are right in that The Thing is the second most interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
We were texting back and forth, and I sent you The Thing and eyeball emojis. Like, I don't really to me, when I read the Fantastic, I want to read them as a group, and I don't even read a ton of Fantastic Four. I love the life story books because it's almost like a Black Label type story where, it's a little bit different. It's not necessarily canon. And I find that those stories are very interesting. Zdarsky did Spider-Man life story. Loved it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slightly different take on the character and seeing them throughout the decades. And that's what I've enjoyed about Fantastic Four life story. I'm not necessarily going to read other Fantastic Four stories. And so I'm sure, this will probably be pretty good, but it's not one that I would inherently pick up.
I will be picking this one up for sure because I'm interested in The Thing. I really dislike the two I guess lead characters, right? Because you count Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic as the lead characters of the Fantastic Four, but I like the other two a lot. And I think a lot of people like the Human Torch too. I did not read their team up because there was a series where it was just the Human Torch and The Thing a while back. I just can't read everything, but this I will give a shot for sure because it's a whole new wave of different shit from Marvel, and we'll get into a little bit more of that in I think the next week of November. But let's move over to DC. Of course, we have Batman 116, Justice League 69, Swamp Thing 9, Teen Titans Academy issue 7. The second to last issue of Batman Reptilian, that's issue 5, Suicide Squad 9, Arkham City, Order of the World issue 2, Joker Presents Puzzle Box issue 4, Superman 79 issue 3, Justice League Infinity issue 5, Crush Lobo 6, Mr. Miracle Source of Freedom 6, and then Soul Plumber, which is part of DC's horror stuff. That's the second issue of that. But there's another title. There are two first issues. We have Human Target issue 1 from Tom King, Joe's favorite. But there's another Tom that has a first issue this week in November that we're both very excited for.
When you're on a heater, baby, you never leave it. Holy smokes. Dark Knights of Steel #1, written by Tom Taylor.
Yep.
Put him on the list. We got to talk to this guy. Holy smokes. He's fucking killing it right now. But this one we've both been looking forward to a ton. DC has been promoting the hell out of this, and it looks awesome. I think I used one of the images on our Instagram post today. Just the whole idea of it seems fantastic. An entire medieval world will be forever changed when a spaceship crash lands from a doomed planet. Monarchs will die, kingdoms will rise, and what seemed to be the end of the world for many will only be the beginning. An epic high fantasy story set in the DC universe where nothing is what it seems.
All in, 100%. Yes.
Hard as a rock.
Give me this yesterday. Like I need all of it fucking once. I don't want just one issue a month, please. So he got this. He's got Dark Ages. He's got Superman, Son of Kal-El. He's got 7 Secrets. He's got Nightwing. I mean, Jesus, five books right now. They're all must read.
All bangers. Every single one.
Amazing. Scott Snyder's on a great run right now, and Rodney. We got a lot of writers who we have on this show that are doing an awesome job. That's why we have them on the show. We want to have writers that we enjoy their work and everything. But let's put it this way: of the people we haven't had on the show yet, Tom Taylor is on the hottest streak of any.
Oh yeah, he's fucking killing it right now.
Now, what about Image for November 3rd?
So Image, we have Radiant Black 9. This is one you're going to want to star and circle because when we talked to Kyle Higgins, he said something big happens in this issue.
That's right.
I can't wait for this because there's been a little bit of a pause on Radiant Black.
So good, though. Oh, my God. I
tremendous.
Yes, you were so spot on with that one.
Yeah. The Me You Love in the Dark, #4. Two Moons, #6 returns. Looking forward to that. Walking Dead Deluxe number 26, and The Silver Coin returns issue 6. This one's written by our guy Joshua Williamson, another guy we love. So
Yeah.
that one will be fun. And then we have a couple of number ones here. A Thing Called Truth, written by Lolanda Zaffardino. The Magic Order 2, issue 1, written by Mark Millar. So this got pushed.
Yeah, it looks like, I guess so. Yeah, because I could have sworn we talked about it last solicit for this month.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I want to go back and maybe check out the Magic Order, like the initial run.
I thought that was a thing, and then I couldn't find it. So we'll have to look into it.
The Magic Order, it says like it continues, so it's got to be there somewhere.
You remember? Okay, there you go. Yeah.
But the big book, Brick, coming out from Image that week, I should say, is New Burn number 1, written by Chip Zdarsky.
Yes, sir. Holy shit.
We got the first 5 issues of this, and it is nothing short of fucking fantastic.
Yep.
So the concept of this is really, really awesome. So Eastern Newburn is a private detective without loyalties, investigating conflicts between rival crime factions while collecting enemies along the way. In this debut issue, a man is murdered after stealing from his own mafia family, but they aren't the ones who ordered the hit. What's great about this, Nick, is that Detective Newburn is a detective for the entire mob.
Yep.
So when they need shit figured out, right, instead of just going around and fucking whacking everyone, they send this guy to figure out, who they need to specifically target, so you don't have a gang war starting every week. It's right. Absolutely awesome.
So when Joe says the mob, it's not just like the Italian mob or the Irish mob. We have like 5. We have every crime to get in. I think it's in New York City, or it's supposed to be like New York City, right? Everything is all in this. Like they are all connected to Eastern Newburn. So we don't want to spoil anything, but it's just the concept that Chip came up with is outstanding. We had a great conversation with him about this, and he offers some awesome insight. And this is right, Joe. This is optioned already for a show.
Yeah, he's already writing the pilot. He said, we tried to get him to tell us where we'll be able to watch the show, but his lips were sealed. But he's I think he said he's already written the pilot, or he's at least writing it now. And another great thing about this book is that even though there's a thread that connects all the issues, like each issue revolves around a different crime. So I can't recommend this book enough.
There's another interesting little thing about our conversation with Chip that we will get into next week, but it's just a funny little thing that happened in the course based on the timing of our show, but we'll explain that to you guys another time. From Boom, we got Mighty Morphin 13. Ben, again, if you like Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, these are 2 separate titles now, both by Ryan Parrott, a guy who I want to try and get on the show at some point. He's been doing an outstanding job. He did Go-Go Power Rangers when Kyle Higgins was doing Mighty Morphin and their friends, so I'd love to talk to him about everything he's been doing with Draken and everybody else. We got Buffy 31 and then Magic the Gathering issue 8. From Dark Horse, we have Orphan and the 5 Beasts, issue 3, Lucky Devil 4, Last Flight Out, issue 3, and then Hellboy, Bones of the Giants. Again, anytime we're getting Hellboy stuff, short series, miniseries, and everything like that, I'm 100% all in on this because I like Hellboy, and I don't need this big overarching stuff. We've gotten a lot of that over the years. There's a lot to sift through there, but if you just like Hellboy and you haven't been able to read a whole lot of his stuff, this is an easy way to go and do that. What about IDW, AWA? Take us the rest of the way this week, Joe.
Okay, so we've got IDW, TMNT, Best of April O'Neil. We've been loving these books and loving these covers. This cover kind of stinks.
Yep.
Not my favorite.
Yeah, not
my favorite.
Nope.
And then we have Star Trek Mirror War number 2. From AWA, we have Knighted number 1, written by Greg Hurwitz. This is going to be, the cover art, everything we've seen from this looks fantastic. In this action-packed adventure set in the universe of the Renaissance, Greg Hurwitz and Mark Teixeira, baseball legend Mark Teixeira?
Yes, sir. Not that guy, actually. So I was wondering.
So Legacy Spider introduced a mass vigilante for the 21st century. Bob Ryder is a hapless bureaucrat whose bad luck streak comes to a crescendo when he accidentally kills the city. I should have done a better job copy and pasting this synopsis. When he accidentally kills the mass vigilante, the Knight. Oops. Now Bob is forced to take on the mantle of the legendary hero before the city descends into chaos. AWA, great premise. I'm in.
Yeah, very much in on this. We found out about this a while back, and we've actually shared some of the art over on our Instagram page at
Yep.
TLDR_pod. Make sure you guys go check that out. Actually, I think we got a bunch of variant covers too that I'll be sure to put out ahead of the first issue's release. And I've just been doing. Look, there's been some things that we're not going to love everything that comes out from every company. Of course, we criticize them all in some capacity. It's just how it goes. It's the nature of the beast. But we've been very excited for this one. We were excited for Out 2. That first issue came out. We got the second one coming this month. We'll get to that in a second. What do we got from Vault on the third?
Vault, we have World of Darkness 2 and the Blue Flame 2, and we have a couple of number ones here. Fox and the Hare and the Rush. Take it away, Nicholas.
Yes, I am very excited for both of these, actually. So Fox and the Hare is written by Jonathan Tucci, I believe how you say his last name. The Black Market, when Black Market coder Aurora Yee uncovers top secret data that has tapped into the past lives of the citizens of Mazu Bay, her world is turned upside down. The mega corporation Sinastri Designs wants its data back, and it's hot on her trail. Aurora has no choice but to turn to the Fox and the Hare, the most feared mercenaries in the city, for protection. I'm just going to go right into the Rush as well. We saw this one a while back. I thought for some reason this was supposed to come out in October. Either way, this is from Cy Spurrier, who he's done quite a bit of good work on Marvel and DC as well. In 1899, Yukon Territory, a frozen frontier bloodied and bruised by the last great gold rush. But in the lawless wastes of to the north, something whispers in the hindbrains of men, drawing them to a blighted valley where giant spider tracks mark the snow and impossible guns roar in the night. So there's a little bit more to that, but Vault has been like in a really good spot for me right now, out of kind of nowhere. I mean, I liked Barbaric and that was good, but of course, going back and reading the Autumnal as well. And I picked up some other Vault books recently too that maybe I'll talk about on the show. They're a little bit more of the spooky variety, but these premises sound really interesting. And in general, like I'm just kind of more open to giving Vault a look than I had been previously, I guess.
Yeah, they got a book, Dead Box, I want to check out as well. That's supposed to be really good.
And then we have Dynamite has Red Sonja 3, which you are reading. And then what about the book from Aftershock from the third that you're looking forward to?
So you want to talk about busy writers? We have The Heathens #1 from Cullen Bunn.
Oh,
when evil men and women escape from the depths from the eternal abyss, the pirate queen lady yeah.
It smelled like Brit, but okay.
Is set to retrieve them. Hold on, I gotta mark that down. 56:39. There we go. Enter the heavens. Lucky Luciano, Bumpy Johnson, Sophia the Golden Hand, and Billy the Kid. From hell they came to met out justice as dark, just as dark as their own tormented souls. Yeah.
Look,
I butchered it, but I'm in.
It's a Cullen book. Joe and I are gonna give it a shot as soon as we know that that's out. I mean, as soon as we see that. So no questions asked. I will take us to to Marvel for the week of the 10th of November. We got Moon Knight issue 5, Dark Ages 3, which has been outstanding. Kang the Conqueror 4, which are you out on this, Joe?
Yeah, I never really finished the first book, to be honest with you.
Wow. Okay. Shang-Chi issue 6, which you're very much in on. We both are. Star Wars High Republic. I think that's issue 12. Either way, Star Wars High Republic Trail of Shadows issue 2. Got it. Okay, I got to read the entire thing. We haven't gotten issue 1 of that yet, though, have we? What the fuck is going on?
That's right, though. When I wrote down number 2, but I was like, it must have come out and I missed it.
Yeah, unless it's this weekend we missed it. Anyways, Black Panther Legends issue 2. This list is the best one yet so far. Speaking of Black Panther, we have Black Panther 1 from John Ridley. We have Hulk 1 from Donny Cates. And we have Venom 1 from Al Ewing and Ram V. Okay, and then of course you have Darkhold Wasp issue 1, which is part of I don't know what the whole Darkhold thing is, but whatever. Joe and I I'm only so into that. I want to read the Blade thing, but that's it. But I'm good. I haven't read a lot of Black Panther stuff. I'm going to give this a shot. I know John Ridley did all the Jace Fox stuff with Batman. Then, of course, Donny Cates making the switch over to Hulk. I'm very interested in this. And then when you got Ram V involved in any project, that's definitely something you got to pay attention to. And it's Venom. And from what we see with Venom, this is taking place after the events of Venom 200. And if I'm not mistaken, Joe, Dylan is Venom, not Eddie.
Yes, so it's going to be a Dylan story, not an Eddie story. So this will be, very interesting. I mean, Al Ewing's run on Immortal Hulk was very critically acclaimed. So this will be interesting, and it'll be very interesting to see how Donny Cates goes from Venom to Hulk, two very different characters.
I will say these first two sentences from the synopsis of Hulk issue 1. Immortal, no longer. A brand new creative team delivers a new colossal-sized era. Just that first sentence is really all I needed to read. And Immortal no longer in the Hulk? That seems a little odd.
Yeah.
But anyways, take us to DC for the week of the 10th.
So we have Action Comics 1036, Joker, aka Jim Gordon, number 9, Superman song, Son of Kal-El, number 5, Batman Urban Legends, number 9, I Am Batman, number 3, Future State Gotham, number 7, Justice League Last Ride, number 7, Batman the Imposter, number 2, Harley Quinn, the Eat Bang Kill Tour, number 3, Blue and Gold, number 4, Black Manta, number 3. Long pause between issues here. Superman versus Lobo, number 2.
Yeah.
And Pennyworth, number 4. And we have a number 1 that I'm very much in on. Batman and Robin, number 1, written by Jeff Lemire.
We heard about this one a while back too. Definitely art that we shared on our page when we first heard about it. Definitely going to give this one a read.
Yeah, no doubt. So Image, Nick, what do we got from Image?
We have Undiscovered Country issue 17, Sea of Stars issue 11, a Righteous Thirst for Vengeance issue 2, or Ordinary Gods issue 4. So this is the last one that Joe and I have had an advanced copy on. Then we're going to have to wait. Kind of like everybody else. We still get a little bit ahead of everybody, a little bit, a little longer than we like. As much as we tried to get as much as we could out of Kyle Higgins. Anyway, we still got plenty. And then we got Stillwater issue 11. We also have Phenom X issue 1, which I just wanted to highlight that this is written by John Leguizamo, which is of course an actor. I forget what his shit is, but it's a name that
Spawn. He was the clown dude in Spawn.
Okay, he's been quite a bit of shit.
The Pest.
Yeah, he's more of a face that you recognize, I guess, than anything. But what else? There's another thing that you wanted to highlight from Image this week.
So this is another book that's been heavily been promoted over the past month or so from writer Matthew Rosenberg. What's the furthest place from here? Number 1.
Yep.
So this is going to be a triple-sized first issue, and I'm waiting for this one.
Yeah, we've both been pretty excited for this one to come out too. We actually were thinking about trying to get him on, but just timing-wise with everything that's popped up for us, it kind of fell through the cracks. But when I see this triple-sized first issue, that does seem weird to me. I wonder why that is. But
I don't know if it's going to be an anthology type thing or if it's going to be, I don't know what the gig is here, but a post-apocalyptic coming of age story from 4 kids walking to a bank's Tyler Boss and Matthew Rosenberg. So Tyler Boss, we love his stuff. Can't wait for his Kickstarter for us to get that. The world has ended. All that remains are gangs of children living among the ruins. But Sid believes there must be something more out there. When she disappears into the wastelands, her gang will risk everything to bring her home. A story about things that matter most, your survival, your loved ones, and your record collection. So I think, I love how Rosenberg writes. Tyler Boss is great. So this has all the makings to be a really good series.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested in it. I just the fact that they're doing a triple-sized issue just seems like an odd marketing decision or whatever. How do you feel about this? But either way, definitely gonna pick it up.
Yeah, I'll know when I see it. It'll be one of those things like, okay, that was dumb, or oh, this is fucking brilliant.
I think the beauty of it is you'll know after this first issue whether or not you want to actually stick with it. But I think actually I remember hearing an interview where he did talk about how he went one way and then he went another way, and this has been in the works for a long time. So maybe my apprehension is a little off base because now something's starting to kick in my memory. But anyways, for Boom on the week of the 10th, we have Power Rangers 13, and then there's Regarding the Matter of Oswald's Body, issue 1 by Christopher Cantwell, which is on your radar.
Yeah, because this is revolving around the Kennedy assassination, and it feels like it's going to have vibes of Department of Truth. So meet this ragtag group of useful idiots who are unwittingly brought together to clean up the crime of a century. A wannabe cowboy from Wisconsin, a Buddy Holly idolizing former car thief, and a world-weary civil rights activist ready for revolution, and a failed G-man who still acts the part, and specifically regarding the matter of Oswald's body. So this just sounds interesting. It sounds a little out there. It's Boom, number 1. we're in, baby.
Oh, we're back on the Boom #1 train. Okay.
I mean, we
good.
never really left, but
That's fair. No, that's fair. You obviously, I know you love Boom, but I'll tell you what, in time, we've seen a lot of fluctuation from some of these other publishers where they've kind of risen to like the challenge that Boom kind of like from when we started the show. Boom was like the #1 for indies for you for sure. For me, it was right there with Image. I've always really liked Image, but then we've seen Image like step forward immensely. Yeah. Dark Horse has had its moments. AWA of course,
has moments.
A lot of moments. And then Vault and Aftershock as well have had some moments. But speaking of those, from Dark Horse, we have Maze Book issue 3 on the week of the 10th. The Unbelievable Unteens issue 4, both are Lemire books, and then No One Left to Fight No One Left to Fight 2, issue 2. So this is the second arc of that story. That's by Aubrey Sitterson and Fico Ossio. I really enjoy that series since the first arc. From IDW, we have Canto 3, Lionhearted, issue 4. I will say, like, back-to-back titles where you've got a number in the title, counting the issue. I don't love that shit. Cut that.
I don't. Yeah.
Please.
Just call it Canto Lionhearted, right?
Yes. And then we have Out issue 2 from AWA and Telepaths issue 3. Witchblood 8 is coming out from Vault that week. And then Aftershock has Chicken Devil 2, which I like that first issue, definitely on the second one. And then we have, you actually wanted to make sure I read this one off, right, Joe?
Yeah, because of the writer.
My Date with Monsters issue 1 by Paul Tobin. And for those who are unfamiliar with that name, A, shame on you. B, that is the man who wrote Bunny Mask, which is fucking straight nightmare fuel. And I cannot wait to hear you talk about that, Joe, because I know you're going to read that book and it's so good.
Yeah. I'm going to have to read it daylight, Saturday morning, come home from the office and, read it with the lights on in daylight, so I don't shit my
brag, I have an office now. Okay, cool. Some of us plebes don't even have an office. This is, you're looking at my workstation right now. Anyway.
Where were you working from on Change My Mind? It was a beautiful little setup you had there with the vanity mirror and the lights.
That was Lauren's place. That was the point. Yeah, it's a substantial improvement from my kitchen table.
Yeah, your blank fucking wall.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know what? I have the bike gears up here that I get shit on every time on DraftKings. But anyways, regardless, My Date with Monsters issue 1, I do want to read the synopsis. As much as Paul Tobin is reason for me to jump in on this, for those who want to know a little more, 7 years ago, an attempt to weaponize dreams resulted in holes being punched through the world we know and into the world of dreams. Nightmarish creatures now stalk the land, sprouting from and killing anyone unlucky enough to dream. The only way to save the world is for certain people to have their dreams come true. Yeah. Definitely on this. And if it's Aftershock 2, it's gonna have a little more of a horror vibe. So I'm all in on this. Let us move now to the week of the 17th. Joe, you start us off.
Okay, so from Marvel, we have Daredevil 36, X-Men #5, Wolverine 18, X-Men: The Trial of Magneto #4. This has been a tremendous series. Darth Vader 18, The Death of Doctor Strange #3, Iron Man #14, Fantastic Four Life Story #5.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Darkhawk #4. That was you not knowing what a good book is if it hit you in the face.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay, Mister. I'm gonna steal lines from I Think You Should Leave and take credit for yourself. Bullshit. Over here.
Fucking dipshit.
What an asshole. You, not him. I'm glad somebody called you finally on that nonsense. It's unacceptable.
Oh, I know, right?
Yes.
Oh, man. So Darkhawk #4, Winter Guard #4. And then I'm just going to rattle off a couple of #1s here. We have Hawkeye, Kate Bishop #1, written by Marieke Nijkamp.
I think you got it.
I think I got it. Star Wars Life Day #1, written by Kevin Scott. He's written a lot of Star Wars books in the past. And The Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man #1, written by Jed McKay. So a lot of more event books. I feel like Marvel this month is just like all the #1s are just event books.
There's a lot of that. I mean, we had a couple of quality ones in the first 2 weeks, but I think it definitely slows down in the second half. But I might give this Kate Bishop thing a chance just because we got the Hawkeye stuff, obviously intentional. I'm not sure entirely how I'm going to feel about it, but maybe I'll give it a shot. We'll see. From DC on the week of November 17th, we have Nightwing 86, which I don't think this is that issue we've been waiting for, but it might be. We're getting close. It's either 86 or 87 where there's no panels, complete chaos. I cannot wait for this shit. Then we have Batman 117, Nice House on the Lake issue 6, and then Joe is going to go scream into a fucking quiet room for 6 months, and then he'll get Nice House on the Lake back for issue 7. Then we got Batman 89 issue 4, Superman Son of Kal-El issue 5, Batman versus Bigby, A Wolf in Gotham issue 3, Suicide Squad King Shark issue 3, Aquaman The Becoming issue 3, Nubia and the Amazons excuse me issue 2, Refrigerator Full of Heads issue 2. Did you read the first one yet or no?
No, not yet.
Okay, I'm curious because I think we had somebody review it on Geeks Worldwide, and I don't think they liked it that much.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't. I
If I
think
remember
like a 2.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I'm curious where you end up landing on that. And then we have Justice League issue 70. We do have a couple of quality first issues from DC this week. Of course, we have Wonder Woman Evolution issue 1 by Stephanie Phillips, which I think I will give a read. We have Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons by Kelly Sue DeConnick, which maybe I'll give a read. I'm not entirely sure. But then we have Robins issue 1 by Tim Seeley. And the whole premise of this is we have Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, and Damian Wayne all discussing some stuff and whatever about their like life with Batman and like what that decision and everything. But then this other character comes in who they don't know, claiming they're the first Robin, and it's a female too. So we have so this is somebody who apparently came before Dick Grayson. I'm absolutely interested in this story, and I really hope that Jason Todd also is a dick in this as much as possible.
Yeah, this one looks fascinating as hell. And then we have Batman Secret Files, The Gardener, number 1. Now, you take the title and you might go, huh? What?
Yep.
But then you see it's written by James Tynion, and now you're like, fuck yeah, I am in.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, that's how that works. It's funny how that happens. Huh. She is shrouded in mystery. Her motives a secret, and one cannot help but ask, who is Bella Garten, a.k.a. The Gardener? Really? Green Thumb storyteller James Tynion and Christian Ward dig deep into her past to unearth the secret origin of the latest addition to Batman's Rogue Gallery. And so learn not only how Bella Garten came to know Pamela Isley, but how she was integral in the origin of the woman who would one day be known as Poison Ivy. Ooh. So it sounds like we're going to get a little Poison Ivy origin here. Tynion's writing is going to be fantastic as always, so definitely looking forward to that one.
Okay, I might give that one a shot. What about from Image this week,
Joe? King Spawn number 4.
Yes.
Primordial number 3. Gunslinger Spawn number 2. Moonshine number 28. Time Before Time number 7. Vinyl number 6. So there's the answer. It wasn't the last issue. There's at least one more. Deep Beyond 10. Sweet Paprika number 5. Ant number 2. And Second Chances number 4.
How did you get nightmares from that King Spawn cover that we saw?
That was fucking terrifying.
Is that Glapian? I think that bro. That's
yeah, Jay. And the thing about that is that like he tweeted that out. That was like whatever. You calling me a pussy was one of our most successful posts.
Yeah, you know what? I think Sean likes to bust chops a little bit too, apparently, and yeah, everybody seemed to really enjoy that.
Yeah.
That cover's terrifying. I'll give you that.
It is.
Yeah. But anyways, what else? Let's see. We got Boom from that week. We have Eat the Rich 4, which you've really enjoyed that so far, right?
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, so yeah, it's been fantastic. As well as Dune House of Atreides. I just stole it from you. Dune House of Atreides number 12, which I can't wait to talk about, and maybe this might be the week I talk about Dune. That book it'll wrap up. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Yeah, that very week may be the week actually. Yeah, because we have had to. Because next week with the interview and everything under the new format.
Yeah, we'll figure this shit out.
I'm very excited to read that after watching the movie. I gotta say.
Oh yeah, I want to talk to you about Dune too. See what your thoughts are, because you didn't read the book, right?
I did not read the book.
Okay.
Yes. So Joe and I will talk off air, but for those who want to hear more of my thoughts, you can also listen to Change My Mind. You guys will hear more. Wes and I kind of went in depth on that. But then we have Maw issue 3 from this week from Boom, and then Magic the Gathering Master of Metal issue 1. So this is a little tie-in, first one that we're getting from this series. Let's see. We got Dark Horse Joy Operations issue 1 from Brian Michael Bendis, Joe's favorite. IDW TMNT The Last Ronin design book, which I may pick this one up. Usagi Yojimbo Dragon Bell Conspiracy issue 6. Not All Robots issue 4 from AWA on the week of the 17th. And then what about Vault?
So Vault has Radio Apocalypse number 1 written by Ram V. So this is another book that I probably wouldn't have read or picked up, but because it's Rom V, I'm gonna definitely give it a shot. Long after the rock out of space struck the world and turned it all to dust. In Bakerstown stands the last radio station on the planet. Radio Apocalypse broadcasting into the unknown, a beacon in the dark for those who wander this sounds weird. Who wander the lost places. No change is coming to Bakerstown. Among the refugees flocking into an already precarious settlement is an orphan boy, Rion, caught in an This one would have been better if I just ended it saying Radio Apocalypse, Rom V, read it, because I butchered the goddamn synopsis.
I maybe. Either way, this did sound a little bit odd, but when it's Rom V, it's like, okay, I want to give this a shot. And again, I'm feeling pretty good about Vault lately. So I want, like, when I saw this title, I was like, this seems strange, but I'm interested. And then you got Rom V. Okay, I will pick up the first issue of this for sure. Despite you're butchering the synopsis.
Yeah, but as I'm reading, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like in my head, that's why I was just stumbling, because it was just like, it's a weird synopsis, and it's a longer synopsis than it probably should have been. But Radio Apocalypse #1, Rom V. I'm definitely going to give this issue a read.
There you go. We're just gonna just listen to that part only. Everybody else, ignore everything else you heard up until now. In the entire episode up until now. Right. And then of course we have Aftershock, Search for Who, issue 3. Something I've actually been meaning to go back and maybe check out. I think
I've heard good things. Yeah.
Steve Orlando's writing that. I don't know if he's co-writing that, but I've been interested. I don't know who the artist is, but I've seen at the end of some of the Aftershock books that we've been reading, like the art there looks pretty good too. So let's check that one out. And then the final week of November, Joe, we have 4 Wednesdays in the month. The week of the 24th. I'll kick us off with Marvel. We have Inferno issue 3, Venom issue 2, Star Wars 19, and The Amazing Spider-Man issue 80. We have a couple of first issues as well, and like events also. We have Captain America Iron Man issue 1 by Derek Landry. I might give this a shot. I'm not certain, but definitely something I think the average, if you have a kid who who's interested in maybe getting into comics, this may be a good place to start. Then we have X-Force Killshot Anniversary Special. This is Rob Liefeld and Chad Bowers, and I believe Liefeld is doing the artwork on this. Cable,
great. He can't draw feet, so you'll see plenty of panels from the waist up.
Yeah, I might pick this up, but I'm not a big Liefeld guy either. We have Giant Size Black Cat Infinity Score issue 1 by Jed McKay. Darkhold Black Bolt issue 1 from Mark Russell. The Death of Doctor Strange, White Fox by Alyssa Wong, and then Marvel's Voices Heritage issue 1 by Nalia Inuksuk and Rebecca Roanhorse. I saved you from that one. What about DC?
DC has Detective Comics 1045, Robin #8, Wonder Girl #5, Batman Reptilian #6, DC vs. Vampires #2, Task Force Z #2, Deathstroke Inc. #3, Aquaman Green Arrow Deep Target 2, and we have for a #1 this week, Justice League Incarnate #1, written by Joshua Williamson and Dennis Culver.
Now, this I believe is dealing with the Frontier, the Infinite Frontier stuff, and I know I fell off on the event. You did as well. That there's just a mainline story for that. I want to go back and read it because you're dealing. Look, I'd be a hypocrite if I don't give it more of a shot. The first issue was just slow to introducing him, but we get Thomas Wayne's Batman in this, and then I see the Justice League Incarnate cover, and then it's Thomas Wayne's Batman. And I mean, if anybody's complaining, clamoring for more Thomas Wayne Batman, it's me. So I got to give this a shot. I got to give it to just to see what they do with this character, because I want more of him. I think there's a lot there, and I think it's very interesting. But anyways, then we have Image for the week of the 24th. We have Oblivion Song issue 35. Of course, that is Skybound. This is the second to last issue of that series. Talked about that on the show a while back. That's a Jake Gyllenhaal movie soon to be made. We have Redneck 31 from Skybound, which Joe just talked about. The one Dorktober book he was able to talk about. Department of Truth issue 14. Spawn 324. Crossover 10. Radiant Black 10. The Good Asian 7. Hellcop 2. We still haven't gotten Hellcop 1, so don't hold your breath on that one. Nita Hawes Nightmare Blog issue 2, which Joe and I have already looked at. Fucking awesome. And then what's this giant size first issue thing we got, Joe, from Jeff Johns?
So it's Geiger. It's an 80-page giant #1. And so this just looks like it's going to be a collection of stories diving deeper into the world of Geiger, which was a great series. Series. I enjoyed that very much. So this one has piqued my interest. I don't know if I'm assuming this is just a one-off. Because where they left things, I really hope they pick up a second arc and go for it there. So I think this is just sort of an opportunity to sort of dive into that world and tell some really good stories.
Yeah, maybe introduce it to new people and everything. Yeah, maybe that's where I should pick it up. Although, if you want to talk about it, we'll figure that out. But then we also have Girl Scouts, Stone Ghost issue 1 from Jim Mahfood. So it's spelled GRRL Scouts. Yes, from what do we got from Boom for that week?
House of Slaughter number 2, Once and Future 22, Dark Blood number 5, and then we have a number 1 Power Rangers Universe number 1.
Yeah, and I couldn't find the writer for this one, which is kind of strange. But I'm definitely going to be reading this, and I think, and of course, I'll report back for you guys. For anybody else who's a Power Ranger fan, then we have Dark Horse Hellboy, the Silver Lantern Club issue 2. So that answers my question before when I mentioned that. Not a one-off; it's going to be a mini series. Black Hammer Reborn issue 6, and then another Hellboy book, Hellboy in the BPRD. 1957 Forgotten Lives issue 1 by Mike Mignola and Chris Roberson. I believe Roberson is the guy who's been doing a lot of Hellboy stuff with Mignola, and he's been doing I've really enjoyed what they've done. IDW Sonic the Hedgehog, Imposter Syndrome issue 1, again one I couldn't find the writer on. And then what about for AWA and Vault, Joe, for this week?
So AWA gives us the final issue of Fight Girls. Fight Girls number 5. We get the penultimate issue of Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal number 7. And then we get Lunar Room. That's it from AWA. And then from Vault, we get the last book you'll read number 4. Hope I get my naughty cover for that.
And
I still have to read issue 3 because I didn't get the naughty cover.
Shit.
I've been putting it off, so I got to read that one.
Oh my god.
And then we get Lunar Room number 1 by Danny Lore. Cynthia Sin Breaker used to be a lot of things: a werewolf, a mob enforcer for a powerful mage, a name feared on every street of Solar City. But now she's forcibly retired from all those things, trying to get over her past job and past lives. Zach Zero is a mage with her own agenda, and now item number 1 is to hire some protection. So this sounds interesting as hell. I'm definitely going to give this one a read.
Absolutely. This is, again, a lot of quality sounding books from Vault for the month of November. So we're going to be picking up those. Hopefully we can report back to you guys on all of those. I cannot wait to give those a shot. But Joe, we have, this was quite the solicit that we had. And of course, this will be available on Wednesday for an audio version for those who are watching us on Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch. Of course, your Twitch and Geeks Worldwide's Twitch. But then you also later in on the week, you have, I've heard it both ways. What are you guys doing this week?
Psych Season 3, Episode 10, 6 Feet Under the Sea. That'll be with my other partner in crime, Billy D, Thursday nights at 8:30.
Yeah. Partner in crime. I don't want any labels that are similar. Like, I share nothing other than you, and I don't even fucking like that. But of course, Doc's also doing some video games over on Twitch as well. Now that he's got that PS5 too, he's going to have some crazy shit, I would think.
Yeah, but the problem with the PS5 is I'm having some real streaming issues with it. It's not conducive to streaming off a PC with it. So I've been streaming without the camera, which probably most people enjoy, but no, I got to figure that situation out. But
I hate that. That sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, we're just going to be doing what's new next week because we'll have the Chip Zdarsky interview, but we will see you guys still at 1:30 on Tuesday next week. Until then, Joe, stay sexy.
You know it.